Okay, now we are.
Wait. Wait, then now I'm confused. We were not live, but now we're live.
We're
So are we
definitely live
live?
now. And
Okay.
uh and now the nerves begin. So, you know what?
Oh God.
We're talking about fucking underwater today at some point, but like it's been a long night. We've had we've had already too many
It has been a
shenanigans,
long night.
and it's like, dude, we just need
Oh
to fucking push
God.
start. So,
Yeah, well, just do what Robert Downey Jr. does. Take a beta blocker and you're good.
a beta blocker. That's what we should
Well,
get. Okay,
yeah,
next
yeah.
podcast we'll do that.
Well, because it's like that's what I take for like my hands. It's a beta blocker, so that's why I'm calm as a cucumber, dude.
Well, I've seen some pretty aggressive cucumbers in my day, especially them English cucumbers. Some of them, like,
English. Wait, you're saying there's other types of cucumbers? So there's like an American cucumber, a
you've
Japanese
never seen
cucumber.
English cucumbers when you go to the store? They're usually like wrapped, and they're shaped like they're usually like longer, and then each end is kind of like nubbed off, or one's kind of like pointy. This is sounding really wrong, but
No,
we're talking
no.
about vegetables here.
Yeah. Well, no, I never seen
Well, you
the
never go to the grocery
English.
store, so what would you know?
Well, stop. Dude, I have a reputation to uphold. I do go to the grocery store, but just not for vegetables.
Oh god, we're gonna save that for another podcast, dude.
Another. How many podcasts are we going to have?
We're just gonna
Let's
do
start with
all of
this
them,
one.
all of them.
Okay, all of them.
Talk about anyway. Um,
Mhm.
okay, so getting right into this. We've seen this movie now. How many times would you say together? At least three?
Few times, yeah.
Yeah, at least three. Um, I got a
It's
chance to
one of
see
our
it in.
favorite.
Yeah, I got a chance to see it in theaters when it first came out. Um, and I was so nervous watching this movie. The first time, like I remember my nerves. My legs were like shaking up and down off the seat. It's like I was at the edge of my seat the whole movie. And what's funny is, you and I like it to to a pretty great extent, I would say. Um, but what's funny is I feel like because of my own bias to the movie, that I've overhyped it to some people, and now it's like I
It's
have a hard
okay.
time like talking about the movie if without getting like super excited.
Well, hey, think about this. Why would you talk about a movie that you dislike, right? Like if I
Oh,
watched the
dude. Oh,
movie and,
dude.
and
Do we want to go down this list?
well, we seen movies where they were good, solid 2 out of 10s, and but granted, you get
Oh,
some of
fuck.
the diamond in the rough movies like, and this might be a podcast for later on is Black Sheep, and that'll
We're
be
definitely
something.
talking about Black Sheep when that
Yeah.
comes up. And for
Hmm.
those of you that haven't seen it, it came out 2006, right? It was literally like the
Yeah.
same,
Hmm.
right around the same time that Peter Jackson's King Kong came out, and some of the development team on that worked on King Kong worked on Black Sheep, which I thought was kind of interesting, or vice
Yeah.
versa. Now I'm
And
getting my facts
and
messed up.
no, you're good. But people do need to realize too, like we're talking about a, not the was it the Chris Farley Black Sheep movie?
Oh yeah,
Remember there
yeah,
was
yeah.
a similar movie. Yeah, not that one. This is something way
It's
crazier.
one where it's
Yeah.
in New Zealand, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there's like was it a virus? No, sheep were being like experimented on,
Yeah, they're
and
being experimented on and shit hits the fan
and
and
this whole
let's just
island
say
just gets like, yeah, it's like millions of sheep,
oh god.
60 million sheep.
60 million.
Oh gosh.
Oh man.
But I don't know, like going back to underwater, like I remember, I mean, first of all, like Nick, like you and I talked about this, like how great that opening shot is.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
it kind of reminds me of like uh, like how Ridley Scott does like those slow movements, like panning from left to right of the screen,
It's
and
the build up.
it's the slow build up, and it really sets. Yeah, I don't know. It just really sets the tone. It's like super quiet. You hear like the rig kind of like making its creaks and whatnot. First of all, I would never do a job that far underwater. It's like 7 miles deep where this rig is. And for those of you that haven't seen this movie, there's so many reviews out there for this movie. If you want to watch like a standard review, to get like a basic synopsis. You can go, you
Yeah,
can find that. We're
we're
not
not
doing
going to
that. This
review
is a
this.
different format.
We're diving deep into this, and we are just picking out shit that we love and talking about it. And if you don't like it, then get out.
Then just get out of here. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we don't need your views. We got our folks' views. No, but we do need them.
We do, yeah, because we can't be the only ones like watching our videos. Even though that's what it's
Oh
gonna be
well, great.
for the
We
first
do
like
that
100
anyways.
views.
Going back to the beginning, well, I think the thing that I thought was cool is there's a lot of stuff that you can miss if you're not paying attention in that like
Sure.
introduction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the little snippets of the little news articles
Oh, in
and
the
we were
opening
even talking
credits.
about
Yeah, in the
this.
opening
Yeah,
credits. Mm-hmm.
and the thing is for us, we didn't realize how far off into the future
Yeah,
this movie takes place.
yeah, because it takes place in like 2050. So,
Mhm.
these people are drilling to the bottom of the Mariana Trench. There's multiple rigs, multiple drills that are trying to harvest resources down there. So who's to say like what the conditions are on the above surface and why
Oh,
these
I
people are
know.
working
It
there?
almost seems like if resources are low, especially like on land, you have to figure because obviously with the ocean being so big that there's going to be resources that we need and in this movie it seems like okay, we're now reaching the bottom depths of the ocean to get these said resources now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's interesting because this movie focuses purely on the plot. Uh, rig starts imploding. Surviving crew members don't know what's going on. They hear a lot of commotion outside. It's a fight for survival, and trying to get to like the life vessels, and they realize that there's roadblocks getting in the way of that, and and obviously it's also like a sci-fi thriller, so it's not just them, kind of like a 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea type shenanigans going on down there.
Yeah, and it
Um,
also reminds me of the little alien movies like when it's, obviously those movies take place in space, but think about this like with this movie they're in a very confined space and it's like the unknown a little bit that's kind of surrounding them a bit.
it's true because we know less of what's in the ocean. Like we've mapped not even what like 10% of the ocean.
It's not even
It's
10%.
not even 10%.
I think it's like around 5 to
7.
7% that we've kind of scanned the ocean floor, so who the
So
hell knows what's
so at
down
this,
there.
and during this time setting of the movie, who's to say that they haven't mapped, 15%, and which is why they're
Oh
drilling
yeah.
in these critical places. So also like interesting things to think of. But yeah, when you're watching it for the first time, you're not thinking about all that. Unless you're watching it with a very critical eye.
Yeah, I wasn't.
No, I wasn't the first time. I was just like
Nah.
so soaked into what was going on. And like there are some moments of rest in this movie. It's not always like boom 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 boom. There are moments where it is kind of a lull and they're trying to figure out what the next move is and they talk about it. And what I also found interesting is even though they don't have as much character development with every crew member that's present for the film, like the main characters, but you kind of are following Kristen Stewart throughout this whole thing, and she has like that stoic personality. She's not really vocal. She's like internalizing her battles, and all of these crew members have something that they're escaping from, or something that they're trying to go back to. Um,
Yeah, and the cool thing is about this movie too is that it gives like every person or character to breathe a little bit on their own. So
mm-hmm.
like even though with this film being I think it's a not too long of a film, but
90-minute film, yeah, 90-minute
they,
film.
they they give they give the characters their space to do what they need to do, flesh out their plot, and it's not too overbearing to the point where it's like, okay, you need the full backstory of this character or whatnot that you see in, other sci-fi ass movies where it's like, okay, he was the captain of some crew years ago and blah 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 blah. It's like no, they'll give you little snippets, and it's that fine, nice balance of character development in a movie like this.
Right, right. And you're right too because there is no exposition. Like when the movie
Mm-mm.
starts, you get opening credits of all these like newspaper clippings.
Like,
Stations in underwater, like they can't just go out because of the pressure. Similar, like in
yeah.
space, they need like these big rig kind of like honky dory suits, which are
Oh yeah, the Fallout suits.
the Fallout suits. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
Yeah.
power armors, the power armors.
Oh yeah, and hey, remember when we were watching it together, and when they started to get like the armor and stuff, we're like, what? Upgrade number one.
Yeah, because there's a scene. Yes, exactly. The scene towards the end where Kristen Stewart's kind of alone. She's separated from the other surviving crew members. She makes it to the Shepherd Station, which is a separate drilling station from theirs, and she finds like notes of all of the different like sightings from these creatures down there, disturbances. So the other thing about it is in the Shepherd, that's where the captain of that rig, where he was originally stationed. So the captain, right off the bat, knew there was more than he was letting on with the crew. He just didn't want to
Oh yeah,
cause more of a panic than the situation they
yeah.
already
You don't
found
ever
themselves
want
in.
mass panic and chaos, especially like when shit kind of hits the fan. In that situation.
Right. Or the shit that's on the fan that's been there for years is now trickling down. You're like,
Oh
okay,
yeah,
fuck, what do I do?
it's well, it goes back to how this is what happens when you cover shit up and then it starts to peek its little head and you're just like, okay, now
What do we do?
we
It's on our
got this to
doorstep
deal
now.
with. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like the
uh,
Grinch, like from how the Grinch Stole Christmas, where he just showed up on the doorstep and they're like, well, here we go.
I'm taking your
Hey,
can
honey,
of
it
who
looks like your
hash.
boss.
Oh my god. One of my favorite lines. No, one of my favorite lines from that movie. Hey, honey, our baby's here. He
Here,
looks
it
just
looks
like your
just like your
boss.
boss.
Great line. Great line.
I love it.
Oh my gosh. And see, and here we are going on fucking tangents. Can't even
Yeah,
stay
get
track.
used to it. This is us in a nutshell.
Yeah. Well, going back to what we were saying, do you remember the name of the company? Was it Titan? Titan Industries?
Tian Industries.
Tian! Oh, thank you.
Tian, not Titan. Yeah.
Okay. I knew they would start with a T. Okay. So,
Yeah, so going back, titty industry, you
so yeah,
know.
so the Tian Industry, in addition to the captain being Hush Hush, Tian Industries, which controls this whole operation, they've been keeping this under wraps. And it's like, okay, well, how many times are we going to do this? And obviously there's evidence of it happening again and again and again. Now I sound like a broken record. So moving forward.
Yeah, you're
uh,
not broken yet.
Now I sound like a politician. It's just like giving just the same
It's
mumbo
okay.
jumbo over and over again. It's like, dude, nothing's gonna change, man. Show us where the money
Oh, I
is.
know.
Well,
Yeah.
even during the moments of having lulls, um, I feel like you got a chance to see what each of these characters come from. So like Emily, one of the crew members, she's kind of like that.
I hated her.
Well, yeah, I didn't really like her, but she did come in clutch towards the end. But in the
Yeah.
beginning, she did come off as like that annoying character. But the thing that I was telling you about, and I still stand by this, is it shows how some people in those stressful situations will just continue talking, and it's almost like a coping mechanism, where they can't handle like all the silences and the stress, so they just have to talk.
Yeah,
Like a
I'm the
nervous
same
chatter.
way. I am not very good with just like, like when it's like that awkward silence, like it could be whether it's like not necessarily like having a conversation or it's just, you know, depending on what's going on, but it's like, yeah, the silence is like, yeah, it's like something needs to, kind of be said a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And and T.J. Miller's character. Do you remember his name?
Paul.
Paul. Yes.
Paul,
Oh,
one of the best, one of
dude,
the
he was
best.
my favorite
He
man.
he is like the best buddy you can have in the most dire situation. And the thing is, you guys are fucked and you're not getting out, but till the very end, he's your bud.
I think that would be me. I'd like find a way to like be my sarcastic self in in dire conflict and be like, well, if we're gonna die, we're gonna have fun doing it.
Me, I just survive, and then all my friends and everyone just look at me and be like, "How?"
Well, it's because you avoid the conflict. That's what you do. It's like, all right, guys, I see where this is going.
Hey,
And
I
it's
go the
like,
passive route.
y-
Hey. That's why, like, when I play Fortnite, like, way back in the day, shush bush, dude.
shush
Passive aggressive.
bush.
Yeah.
Oh
Hey,
my
my very
gosh,
first win, shot a guy, he fell down, and I didn't even get one kill, bro. The passive.
dude. Do you remember how Paul's character is introduced?
Oh, yeah, with this little bunny.
Yeah, the bunny that he carries. Well, first of all, Paul like gets out of like when they get Paul out of the rubble. And he has like the little bunny, Mini Paul, right? It wasn't the bunny Mini
Yeah,
Paul
Mini
or Little
Paul.
Paul?
Yeah.
Um, he's carrying the stuffed animal throughout the whole movie. And then what's interesting is like in the deleted scenes, they actually shot. I don't know if you saw the deleted scenes, but they actually shot the scenes with the bunny being displayed as a real bunny.
Oh,
But they're
yeah,
like,
that's
this wouldn't
right.
make sense to keep a real bunny down here, so it's like, let's just
Well,
do it
it
without.
could it could make sense because, like, let's say these rigs, you know, experimentation and everything else, you might have, rats and bunnies and stuff. Like, think about it in that, like, lab-esque, setting.
Yeah, but then again, even in the beginning, like when Nora's like brushing her teeth and she happens to see, before all the chaos starts, she happens to see that daddy long leg like in the sink, and
Oh, yeah.
she's even stopped back like, how did you get down here? Like you
Oh,
must have
yeah.
crawled a whole way there. But then we were thinking like, well,
Yeah,
maybe it was
Spider-Man
just,
found a pipe and came down.
hey, um, and until the water flushed the spider out. So,
Yeah.
literally,
Dad. Question for you.
hmm.
Did you have a thing for comfort at all growing up? I did. I used to have a yellow blanket that I used to have as a comfort. So for Paul, that was his comfort. Like, that kept him, like, in his little safe spot, if you will.
I I would buy that. 'Cause it's still like a possession that he brought like from home.
Yeah.
And no matter where he was, like in that rig, he'd still have like a piece of home to take back with him. I like that. Let's let's talk about the kill count in this movie.
Oh,
So
God.
the first, obviously, when Nora and Rodrigo, I got the name right this time, they get to the little control room as the rig is imploding behind them, and all the floor panels are like being like burst up, with all the water and pressure, and there's like two other cabin mates that are trying to run to that door, and Nora's like waiting like the last second.
She waited till the last minute. But here's the thing, though. In that situation, here's a question for you.
Hmm.
If you were in that situation, would you shut the door right away or would you wait?
I think I would have shut it once I saw that they were not going to make it, instead of
Yeah.
waiting to the last second. When I started
And
to
it's one of
see
those
those people,
judgment calls, too.
yeah, because you're having to think of the safety and security of the entire rig. This is just a portion that Nora has the responsibility of sealing off. And as guilty as she feels, afterward, Rodrigo, even tells her like, had you not closed that, door, realize that the whole rig would have gone. And
Oh,
even
yeah.
she wasn't, willing to accept that because she's like, I
Yeah.
didn't save them.
And you know what it reminded me of is
Hmm.
when you're playing a game with your buddies and your one friend goes up way far ahead of you and does the checkpoint before you and and
Yeah.
locks you out from the boss. Like, it's like, hey, it's almost like they ran to the checkpoint way far ahead of everyone. And it's like, okay, we're waiting here. Oh, nope, last minute. Now you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like the time when we're playing Sea of Thieves and Joey and Alex like, which one of them ended up like
Oh,
opening the
God.
vault, and we're like, we're not even there yet. What are you doing? He's like, oh
Oh,
well, it's
yeah.
closing. I didn't get all the chests out. Oh fuck.
Good lord.
Trash. Anyways, so
But we love him, though.
dude, I don't know. Like when I'm in a gaming position, it's either sitting or like going prone. I think that's like my optimum like
I
gaming
can't go
position.
prone. I can't breathe if I go prone.
Well, you're also like 8 foot tall, so if you try to like,
Oh, I know.
lay,
I'm like a tree dude. If I'm on the ground, I'm down for the count.
yeah, like it's gonna take you a year to get up, and a
Oh,
crane.
dude. Nowadays, like with my age, dude. Nowadays with my age, it's even harder. It's like like when a tree falls and you hear that little crackling sound, like that's
Mm-hmm.
me, like getting up. It's like, oh, Groot's here. Oh
Exactly.
my god.
Oh, but like going back to the movie. I think that with Nora and all the decisions that she had made, especially like leading up to the last one, she realizes that we range in emotions, and everyone feels like they don't have control over a situation. We all feel that at times. And sometimes like we'll stress out over things that are outside of our control. And in
Oh
this
yeah.
movie, she finds a way of like, you know, realizing all of this death leading up to a moment, and she has an opportunity to put her feelings aside and actually say like, hey, like even if I don't survive this, I can still make a lasting sacrifice, and let those emotions live on
She
in other
definitely
people.
breaks through in this movie. Like she's able to push past a bunch of her emotions to get through because there's a point, and I think it's like halfway in the movie where they're getting the rigs, and you could tell in her face where it's like, okay,
Oh, when they're suiting up.
it's go time. Well, it's like go time. Like I think it's like when the suits and they're getting gun level 1, gun level 2, and all the upgrades and stuff. It's like that's when you see the demeanor change to, okay, I have a bunch of shit on my plate at the moment, but we need to get through this and push forward because if we don't, we're dead weight and we're going to die.
Yeah, exactly. So there's almost like no time to rationally think about every little step that you're going to make. It's usually in these situations that the movie puts the characters in. It's like we have to decide right now.
Yeah,
And
there's no waiting.
yeah, exactly. And I thought it was a funny line, like adding to the suit up scene. At this point, Rodrigo, Emily, the captain, Paul, our favorite, the comedic relief,
Oh
um,
yeah.
Liam, and obviously Nora, if I haven't already said that. They're all suiting up, and Emily is like really hesitant to get on this platform elevator shaft. Essentially, it's gonna
Did
fill.
she get punched twice? I realized she got punched twice to get going.
No.
Remember when she no, remember when she was getting in the suit, she was hesitant, and remember Nora's like, "Well, I can force you in the suit." And then later, towards the end of the movie, when it came to the escape pods, Nora punched the shit out of her face to get her in that pod. Remember,
Yeah,
she
but
had to force her in those things like twice.
I don't think that's true. I think definitely at the end she gives her a little sucker punch to snap her out of like, no, you can't talk me out of this. Like, boom, get in your pod. Um, but no, Liam is the one to like kind of like encourage her in a positive way, um, and saying like, he says a line and it's great to alleviate the tension because she's like nervous about getting on the platform, and he's like, hey,
Oh, I remember
what's
the
the
line
scariest
one.
part about getting on getting on a ride? And it's like waiting in line, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of laughs and chuckles, and it's like that was a cute moment because he's like, "Hey, I can see that she's going through a hard time, and let me try to positively encourage her to do
Yeah,
this."
positive reinforcement worked in this case.
Especially
Yeah.
for her character too.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
and and I feel
because
like,
she's soft.
well, yeah, she was soft, but then towards the
Yeah.
end, like Liam's suit, it ends up getting he ends up getting hit by this falling debris. Hang on, we got to backtrack. We got to backtrack because I noticed like we were talking about kill count, and this leads up to that. So
We went on a
I
tangent,
know.
so it
So
happens.
so bringing it
Kill
back.
count 5. That's all you need to know, folks. Kill count 5. See, I brought us back. I brought
Oh
us
god,
back.
thanks,
See?
Nick. Man, where would I be without
Yeah.
you? So
Right here.
right here where I'm at. Um,
Yeah.
so the thing that I was scarred of like the first the first death that we saw in the film was when Nora and Rodrigo are like crawling through the rubble,
Oh.
and they happen to see, I think, I think the I think her name was Rebecca.
Yeah,
Um,
Rebecca Katie or something like that.
Something like that. Well, they see her and her eyes are like staring right at them, but she got crushed by
Oh
the
God.
debris, and
Yeah, that was.
they have to crawl past her. Like that's rough. That is
Yeah.
rough because you can't do anything. You can't pull her out. There's no time for burial. There's no time to mourn.
That's her grave. That's literally her grave right
Yeah,
there.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Um, and then, but yeah, so that's like the first, that's the first technically like dead body that we see. Unless we're counting the two in the beginning when Nora has to
So kill
shield
count
Lamar.
3.
So far, so far
Yeah.
on screen. So far on screen.
Whoa,
Wait, wait, wait. What?
wait. It's actually 4 because Daddy Longlegs died.
Aw, why'd you have to bring that up again? R.I.P.
I
Spider.
know. Poor
Okay.
Spider-Man. Rest in peace, Tom Holland.
R.I.P. Okay.
Breaking news.
Breaking news: we're never gonna finish this episode. Oh fuck. So one important detail before we move on is when they're suiting up, Rodrigo is going through the helmets and giving them to everyone. And the
Yeah.
camera shot leans on him looking at this helmet that he has in his hand, and it kind of has like a almost like a somber tone to it, like a little like melodramatic tone. So you know, like, okay, what does he see?
Something's up. Yeah,
So,
something's up.
anyways, you see him give a helmet to Nora. They all suit up. They're going, they're going down this platform, and then as the water fills in, they're starting to descend. As you know, deeper they descend, the higher the pressure. Rodrigo's helmet starts to crack, and immediately I'm
Oh,
like, "Oh no,
dude.
oh no!" And then everyone else starts catching on, and it starts cracking even more. And they're trying to open the elevator door to release all that pressure as them going down, and it's too late. And I think that was actually the first time I've ever seen a death like that, where you
Oh,
just
where
see
the body
someone,
just implodes.
it literally just implodes, and all of these other members are like, they're screaming, and they're trying to go, like, they're trying to just like walk through out of the elevator, and you're just like walking through someone that was just standing next to you. That thought is like really scarring.
Yeah, I can't imagine where it's like you're saying next to someone and then poof, done. You know,
Mm-hmm. It's just it's drastic.
and it's like, goddamn.
R.I.P. Rodrigo. Moving on.
Yep.
So they they're finally able to get.
Damn. Yeah. R.I.P. Rodrigo. Moving on.
So we're not wasting any time
Uh,
now. We're just jumping straight into this. We're deep diving.
all right. Let's see which characters make disliked. Yep. Rodrigo was one.
No, he was cool though. He was
Oh, I
cool.
know.
He
I know.
saves he saves
I'm
Nora,
kidding. I just
dude.
thought it was funny. You're just like R.I.P. Rodrigo. Okay, moving on now.
Man, okay. How about this? R.I.P. Rebecca or Katie, whoever they saw in the rubble as they're crawling. Man, fuck that bitch.
Yeah.
She didn't survive.
Oh
Okay,
man,
so
now I'm getting sad. Side characters, man, you gotta give them the love. They
gotta give him
spent
the
a
love.
whole 2 hours pretending to be dead.
I wonder how many scenes that took. Like, I wonder how long it
Oh
took that
yeah.
character, the actor, to be in makeup. And it's like,
Oh, I
you're just
know,
gonna be
right?
dead. You're just gonna be a
Yeah.
dead person, and just look at the camera.
You know, it's actually harder than you think because there's been TV shows where I've seen people play dead bodies, and the funniest moments are the ones that are like in the morgues, and then you see them breathing. It's like, oh, they're alive.
But okay, so let's talk about like, cause right after the scene is when we're introduced to like the actual creatures, like the sci-fi part of the
Oh
film
yeah.
starts to really take a turn.
Well, that's when they make the decision. Well, we need to get to the other rig, but we want to try to help as many people as we can. And then that's when they're like, okay, we're going to see what the distress call is about. And then that's when
And first of all,
and that's when the movie just totally flips the script, and this becomes Alien versus Predator.
and first of all, that's the thing is like, the captain's seeing this distress call from another
Yeah.
pod, and it's like, okay, yeah, you want to ensure the safety of all the crew members, but everyone else in that room is saying like, nah, this has got bad news written all over it. We should just continue
How many times
descending
have we
down
seen a movie where distress call ends up being terrible?
all the
It's a
time.
trope. It's a trope. I tell you, it's a trope.
So Captain makes the decision, and then Paul and Liam, they end up like, all right, well, we're gonna do this, and then they grab the level 1 gun, the nail gun, off the
Yep,
wall.
the
They're like,
nail gun.
Liam looks at Paul taking it off, and he's like, what? He's like, you heard what's out there, and you know,
I totally got Dead Space vibes from that, dude.
a
That's like
little
your
bit.
level up, gun. You
You
need
got
something, man.
you got your
Like
deep
you don't,
sea
you can't
suit.
expect to just punch the shit out of these alien creatures like bam, bam, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, it's not like the Meg 2 where they had those high-tech suits that are barely used in the movie at all. So
Yeah.
in that moment, they're like, okay, fuck it, well, let's do this, and they have a cute little like handshake that they end up doing, and foot stomps
Oh
it.
yeah.
It's like,
It's
yep.
like Rocket Power, dude. The
Paul says one of the
handshakes.
greatest lines too. He's like, yep, worst decision ever. Let's do this. Then,
Yeah,
to
fucking
our
Paul.
surprise,
Gotta love him.
yeah,
Yeah.
to our surprise, they find they find the dead body, but it's not just a dead body of another crew member. It's got like a bunch of slime on it, and you're like, what the hell? And Paul and Liam are like, dude, there's something in here. And then we get one of our jump scares.
Oh
One of the
yeah.
first. Is that the first jump scare?
Yeah, it is. It's the thing where they're checking the guy's back and the thing leaps out and it's
Yeah.
almost
So after after Paul and Liam bring back the species, Emily takes a look at it and she's like, they're all looking at it like super, like super curious, but then Emily's the one
and the
that's like
thing is with
thoroughly
the
investigating
thing
it.
that they throw on the table is it doesn't even look human like and we don't get that human like aspect until later, which is cool. Like when you first see the creature you're like, okay, this is more like squid like.
The thing is to mention is that the director, William Eubank, he is a big fan of H.P. Lovecraft. That's been confirmed in an interview he had with another movie reviewer. Shout out to Mr. H Reviews.
Shout him out.
Shout out to Mr. H Reviews for interviewing William Eubank and confirming that he actually is a fan of H.P. Lovecraft, which one of the main reasons why he ended up adding Cthulhu at the end. He confirmed that, yeah, that's Cthulhu. I
And that's how the monsterverse started.
Yeah, so the movie Nick and I are waiting for is when William Eubank decides to be like, all right, you know what? What would be cool is if we do for Underwater 2, we're gonna show
Have
Cthulhu
King
rising.
Kong,
No,
right?
no, 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 no.
Godzilla.
Listen. Here's the pitch.
What do you mean, listen? That was.
We're
Man,
gonna
look
have
at this guy. See?
we're gonna have Cthulhu rising out of the ocean, and to meet him is Godzilla swimming to
And guess what the
fight the
movie's
other
gonna be
Titan
called? Above Water.
above water. Underwater
Yeah,
2,
see?
above water.
See? No.
Mm.
Screw that. How many times have we seen a movie where they just add numbers at the end? Let's make it cool. Above water.
I'm for
I
it.
know it
I'm
sucks,
for it.
but see, there you go. See,
We got
okay.
this.
If anyone's listening that's in the movie business, please hire us. We got ideas because most of your guys' ideas suck.
We'll be terrible. We'll be terrible for PR. But
Yeah,
we'll come out
PR,
with
don't
some.
let us near that. Hey, PR, don't let us near that. But everything else, we can touch.
We can come out with some pretty good, interesting ideas. I feel like,
Oh yeah, I think we got some good
especially with the
ideas.
movies. Some movies that we've seen, it's like, dude, you and I can write a movie way better than this.
Oh
But then
yeah.
Watch is gonna have a whole bunch of plot holes, and then it's gonna get badly
Oh
reviewed.
yeah, and then they're going to debunk it, and then
Like,
it's
who the
going to
hell were the
become one
writers
of
for this
those.
film?
Dude.
I think this is like midway through the movie is when they finally get to after they made the discovery of the creature and they realize like they're not alone out there. And something is kind of like messing with them. Start hearing like shit like bang up against the door. Like, okay, let's put the baby back.
Oh
Wait,
yeah.
no. They don't put the baby back, do they?
No.
No.
don't.
See, that's what I think would have been interesting is if they did. I just feel like if they were to give the baby back, if they would have been
Maybe it
treated
would've been
nicely.
nicer. Yeah.
You know. Hey, we're
Yeah,
sorry
hey, you
we
never
messed
know.
up. You guys fucked
Creatures
with
are
us
a force of
first.
habit, so if you give the baby back, then you're good.
But that wasn't the case because like
Nah.
right above them they can see the top of the rig start like basically like
Mm-hmm.
imploding, and they're like, "Oh shit, we need
We
to
gotta
go
go.
down to the seafloor now." And debris is falling all around them from the rig imploding from up above, and they're trying to run to the other station like right across from them, but they have to like trek it. They have to run in these suits, and you can't do that very easily. And as all this rubble is coming down, Liam ends up getting in the way of some falling debris, and that's when his suit slightly gets compromised.
Mm-hmm.
And the start of other new problems coming up. And that's when we actually see, and this is one of my favorite shots actually in the film, is when they're running to the door of that other substation. Um, you see one of the humanoid creatures like standing right above the archway,
Oh, I know.
and
It's
then
like
you hear like
Slenderman,
that.
dude.
Then you hear like that audio boom. It's like doom, and you're like, oh fuck, and
Yeah,
then
Slenderman showed up.
dude, that's exactly what it looks like, and
See,
and
that's what I look like if I was up on a hill and you
you
saw me.
would.
Boom.
You'd scare the shit out of everyone. Um, you're a nice guy though. Once they get to know you, you're a nice guy. But
Yeah.
but if someone didn't know you and they just saw you like standing on the hill towering, they're like, what the fuck's going on? Who awokened?
Shoot him.
Yeah, who awokened the Shadow of the Colossus? I almost choked on my water there.
Uh,
Oh god.
uh,
So
hey, don't be dying now because we need you for episode number 2.
episode 2, yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
tune in, tune in
Tune
next
in
year for episode
whenever the
2.
hell that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, they finally get in there in the substation, and then I think Paul's the one that says like, "Hey, did anybody fucking see that thing out there?" This is why we
Yeah.
love Paul, because he's saying exactly what we're
Paul
thinking.
just provides that comedic value, and the thing is, it's not even over the top. It's just, it's the perfect moments where he just says the right shit at the right
At the right
time.
time, yeah. Couldn't have
Hmm.
said it better. Well, and as we both know, it will be short lived because we are now leading up to the point where Paul
Oh.
has to depart us. Um,
And
and
he does depart in some way.
oh, you said that so good, dude.
Oh.
I love it. I love it. Play on words, man.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know. Why don't you take the reins on this one? I don't know if I'm prepared for this.
Yeah, I'll take the reins. Paul dies. Rest in peace.
The end. R.I.P. Paul. Moving on.
Yep,
So,
R.I.P. Paul. Anyways, moving on.
jeez, Nick. Why don't you tell me more about your favorite character?
Oh, I know. Oh, yeah.
No, dude.
Uh,
That's an
well, hey, what's our favorite saying? Fuck
fuck
them.
'em. Here's the thing. Like with Paul's death, it sucked because as they're going from the entrance of the substation, they take like this little tram. And that's like and this is one of like those low moments where they still know like something's out there and something's following them. And first of all, how did that thing even get in that substation?
Right?
Cuz the doors were closed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though there are sections of this substation that they're in is flooded, so it could be that they have found a way out, and they have slippery bodies, so it could be that they had like slipped through. I don't know. That part wasn't really explained, but one of those creatures is following them, and the characters get to this point where they have to um, pretty much like crawl through this narrow passageway through water and then get to the other side of this kind of collapsed tunnel that they're in. And so they have to go one at a time, and then person goes through, and then they're like helping each other out with like the lines that they have like those
Yeah.
cords that retract in their suits. So
It's like a
um,
zip line almost.
sort of like that. So, anyways, they set that up, and then the other people that are going through one at a time can like grab on that cord for guidance. Get them through the other side. So we get to Paul's last to go because he's a trooper, and that's when you see like the head of the creature like kind of like emerge from the water, and then quickly like resubmerge, and it's like trailing Paul, and we as viewers we've seen this before. It's like, oh no, it's gonna happen.
Yep.
And so Paul's like, Paul's using his cord to get across, He gets across, and then, but it takes him a while. Like everyone's like wondering, like Paul, like where the fuck you
Oh
at?
yeah.
And he's like, yeah, something's definitely following me. That was weird. And then he's like, wait a minute, where's my line? And he's like trying to grab it, and then the line starts like retracting, and it starts pulling him. And he's like,
Yep.
oh my god. He had already taken off his helmet. He's like, give me my helmet. It's pulling me under. It's pulling me under. And
This
dude,
death coming up was
dude,
just
and the moment you
he
knew
gets
the moment,
sucked out of the suit was just
oh,
ripped from the suit was just ugh.
dude, but even before that, like it's little Paul he has to give to Emily. He's like, "Here, take little
I
Paul."
know.
And oh, that's like the last it's the last scene that we
Little
get with him
Paul.
before he puts his helmet on, and then we just see him like all you see is like his head at this point, and he's being pulled by this thing. It's probably grabbing his leg at this point. Um and all we see is his head, and then we just see him like get literally, like you said, like sucked out of his suit, and his head kind of like swells up as he's being pulled out of it. It's just it is so
Yeah,
bizarre.
and
Again,
the helmet just fills up with blood, and
yeah,
that's it.
it's tragic. It's literally tragic to watch, and that's another like death on screen I've never seen done before. So I have to give this movie credit where credit's due. And they've had some very interesting ways to kill off characters that we had such a short time to fall in love with. At this point, they're kind of in despair, but you need to keep going, right? You got to keep going. Liam is now like Liam's suit is now compromised, and they have a moment to like check each other's air canisters that are inserted in the suit, and you can tell like the liquid inside is kind of murky when they look at Liam's, and he's kind
Oh
of
yeah, his suit got messed up.
so. And one of the interesting things in one of the trailers for this movie, it's actually a great trailer. What it talks about is hypoxia, and that's when your
Mm-hmm.
brain loses, it's depleting oxygen. And correct me if I'm wrong in the comments if I said that incorrectly, but essentially it can cause your mind. You can start hallucinating. You can start, mistorting your own reality and understanding of things, and that.
And that made me think, okay, well, if that's the case, then that's when I kind of brought up. I'm like, what if the second, like, especially the second half of the movie where these
Mm-hmm.
creatures come around here and there, what if this all this part was just made up in her head?
It's a crazy theory, dude, to suggest that
Yeah,
after
because
everything
think
that
about
we
it, one of the
see.
things that we looked up is that when you have hypoxia or however you pronounce it, you do hallucinate, but you can also have violent tendencies and stuff
Mm-hmm.
because mostly due to probably confusion and other things going on with your brain or whatnot. But that makes me beg the question: what if her having this, it while they're trying to get to from point A to point B, that's when she starts to have the hallucinogens a little bit, where it's like, okay, maybe these creatures are just a figment of her imagination, and she starts freaking out. So when she's battling these creatures, she's really actually battling her own crew. Like you can like let's say like in these death
This is
scenes of
dark,
the
dude.
the pulling and the just the certain stuff, what if she was the one to cause all that? And even at the very end where she's like, I'm gonna take care of this monster and blow shit up, what if that's just her accepting, like, okay, I'm gonna let my mind go free a little bit? Like,
You know,
I don't know, man.
it's such a,
The darkest depths of the ocean.
it's such an outlandish theory.
Well, it all started with the spider.
Oh
It all
gosh.
started with the spider. Yep. Here's the thing: she shut the door. She killed those people, and fuck.
Nah, man, you're not
I
gonna
know. I'm
tear
just
up
kidding.
Nora for me, dude. She's the hero of this story.
No, she's not.
Oh,
This
oh
ain't
man.
underwater with Kristen Stewart. This is underwater.
Damn, dude. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. As much as that theory is really interesting, I think hypoxia like takes like if someone was actually
It
experiencing it,
takes minutes.
it's
It
like
takes minutes,
like up
seconds.
to like
Yeah.
10 minutes or less, depending on the circumstances of the individual. But because we've seen in oh god, don't have a stroke now. even with like divers, there's this thing called like the bends. They have to like dwell at a certain depth for a for a short period of time and then resurface gradually. Otherwise, it'll act as like they will start acting as if they're drunk and and disoriented.
It's back from intermission
Oh
2.
man, dude. Okay, so now that Liam is pretty much like he's like a not like a dead
Dude, they
corpse.
dragged his body for half the last half of the
He's
movie, dude. He was just
basically
dead weight,
he's
yeah.
basically handicapped for the rest of the film, because of his oxygen supply being tampered with. They don't have spares lying around. This is an emergency situation. They don't have access to all that. They just have to keep moving, and as they do, as they should. There's only three left, so it's like,
Oh
is
yeah.
this just gonna be a movie where they all die?
I was
And
thinking that. Remember that you told me that there was two endings, which was kind of crazy.
yeah, and see the alternate ending I didn't see until I think like a year after. The captain got lost to one of the creatures. It took him up to the surface. Oh, dude,
He did the hero
he did the hero
sacrifice.
sacrifice to save Nora.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and before Nora gets her like level 2 suit, which we'll talk about soon.
Yeah, she had. It's the noble sacrifice of a hero, and then she powers up, and that's what pushes her forward.
But dude, like, how did you feel? Okay, I'll tell you this. Like, this is the one thing I didn't really care about the captain is, at that point where the captain is then forced to save Liam as he's being dragged across by one of the creatures when they're on the
Oh yeah.
seafloor. He goes back in to grab like the nail gun that they had previously in the film. He's like, I'm gonna go grab the gun. And even Nora says it. Like, dude, what are you doing? Like, we don't need that. And this is like the second decision. I'm opposing the captain's decision to make this. The same decision that he had made to send Paul and Liam out to search for that crew member, which they already
Yeah.
knew was probably dead. He then goes back into this tunnel where a creature was
His
pulling
decision making
Liam
led to his
to grab this
downfall.
gun, and then he
Yep.
meets his demise. So it's like, you know what? Fuck you. Like,
He
you
deserved
deserve
them.
that.
Yeah, he deserved it. Yeah.
But, um,
Now that he's dead, now we
y-
get to the good shit.
yeah, the good shit. So, Captain's now dead. He's no longer a part of this. So let's just stop talking about it. Why do you keep bringing up the captain, Nick?
Well, because he had a well.
You're the one. I'm gaslighting you now. How does this feel?
Well.
I'm just kidding. So,
Uh,
you're like,
um.
now I'm sad. All right,
Yeah, fuck
podcast
you.
over. Oh,
Late
dude.
night shit. Late night shit.
So, no, but here's the thing. Here's the thing.
He had a good backstory with his daughter, which I'll give credit where credit is due. But like I said, his decision makings led to his downfall.
And risked, like, nearly risked Nora's life because she got,
Oh
like,
yeah,
stuck to him as he was being, like,
she was being
dragged
dragged with
upward to
them.
the
Yeah.
surface.
Mm-hmm.
And, the captain has to, like, disengage his, the arm part of his suit,
Dude, he was
to
like Buzz
detach her.
Lightyear, dude.
He
He was like Buzz
was. He
Lightyear.
was
Yeah.
zooming, without even wings. He
Hey,
didn't
it's
even
like
need any
Woody and
wings.
Buzz Lightyear, where they're like flying towards the what do you call it, the moving van in the street, and they're flying, and he's just hanging on.
No, he was falling with style in that one. Come on, let's get it right. Get our facts
Yeah,
straight. Buzz Lightyear never flew.
he did.
The
Don't tell me I'm wrong.
But yeah, so I honestly, like, I was okay with the captain dying at this point. I think it's safe
Yeah.
to say, like, no,
Yeah.
you fucked up. You don't get to
Yeah.
continue. You don't get to
No.
collect 2,000 pass go. Fuck you.
Yeah, he
Go to
doesn't
jail.
get his paycheck. Hey, he doesn't collect the paycheck at the end.
Nope. All right, so you know what we say? R.I.P. Captain. Moving on.
Uh,
So so now
You can
with
tell we really love these characters, by the way.
yeah.
We really did.
So now, no, Nora's now compromised. We don't even know what happens with Emily and Liam.
Until the very end.
Yeah. So when Nora finally comes to after she like falls back to the seafloor, after the captain's demise, um, the the story now focuses on her, and she finds her way to like the shepherd station, which in fact is where the captain was, as we like previously stated. Um, and this confirms that he did know what these creatures like were doing near the drilling station. You told me like this is one of the scenes that you actually like, and I kind of like it too because and I'll let you say like why you like it a lot. The reason I like this scene where it's just Nora in the shepherd station, I honestly thought that the movie would end here
Yeah, that's
because
what I thought too.
because
I thought
here.
like that was the defining moment of where her character finally broke. Like she had her shit together, but when she is just by herself gathering her thoughts, you could tell like that's like that breaking point, and
Mhm.
it's like that was like that moment where it's like if they wanted to end the movie right then and there, where she's like, "Fuck it, this is it." They could have done that, and that would have been a really subtle way to end a movie like that. Just a somber way of being like, you had no idea if Emily and Liam made it.
This is one of the reasons why I thought the movie was gonna end at this scene because we see her kind of she has like this little like manic episode, and it's almost like a montage of showing you like what a character's going through, like their current struggle, um, and then it's showing like scenes of her like trying to use the broadcaster, and she's like tuning into different channels, sending out an SOS, seeing if anyone's out there, and she's also trying to verify if like Emily and Liam are still there, and she can't hear anything. But there's music going on in this scene, and I just feel like is this movie gonna end right now? Like I'm so for it because this is still like
Yeah,
there's so much still unresolved at this point, and our main character as the movie started, it
it was
started with
almost like the
her.
bad ending of a movie.
Yes, like
Yeah.
thank you for saying it because I actually like movies when they can do that effectively, where they don't give you the happy ending that you want. And this
Oh
movie,
yeah.
I mean, this movie kind of is that, because not everyone that you want
They gave full
survives.
closure. Like they wanted to give full closure on this movie. They didn't want to leave it open ended or whatnot. So they did a good job with it. But either way, I would have been, fine with them ending.
Maybe like 70 minutes into its total runtime, maybe 75. I don't remember exactly, but it's already past the 2/3 mark of the film, and it's at a low, and it just I don't know, like the way I've seen so many movies like before it fades to black, this kind of reminds me of it. So I was almost expecting it.
Right.
But then it continues and I'm like, "Oh dude, I'm all for it," because then, Nick, we get
Mm-hmm.
we get her coming to her senses. She puts she finds a new suit because the first suit that she was in was compromised, and when she
It's
fell,
upgrade time.
it's upgrade time. So we got level 2 suit, and then we got level 2 gun.
Two
Cause
gun.
yeah,
Yeah.
cause she finds. Well, first she finds like a chainsaw, right? It's like a ripper blade or something, like a cutting device. Probably what they
Yeah.
use to like cut pipes and whatnot. But she sets that on the table, but she chooses not to go with the melee weapon. She goes with the flare gun with 2 shots, and it's like, okay, here we go. We got level 2 gun, level 2 suit. Let's fucking go. And this suit, mind you, has like studded, like it's almost like an armored plate. Like, why was this suit? It almost seemed like it was a prototype because it was the only one we saw in the Shepherd
That actually
Station.
looked pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So now she sets off to see if she can find Emily and Liam. And so she's walking on the seafloor. She ends up, seeing like a giant, like what is it, like an octopus?
Oh yeah.
And it's just like chilling on a rock, and it's like
Ursula came to
Ursula
play.
final form, right? Uh,
Yep.
and
Final
then
Fantasy, final boss.
um, and then like it's cool because then she starts hearing as she's walking. She starts hearing like a voice on her on the helmet
Hmm.
intercom, and then the voice starts getting clearer, and then we realize like that's
Oh
Emily,
yeah.
like Emily's alive. And then Nora
Yeah.
sees her like walking, and she's like
And
dragging
she's just
something.
trudging along.
She's just trudging along. Yeah, she's following this pipeline going to the um what were they trying to go to? Were they trying to go to the Roebuck? They were trying to go to the Roebuck,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yep. The
So
Roebuck.
the Roebuck was the second drill, and that was like their final destination, where this had like all the life vessels that they would need. And this is like the captain's last orders, like we need to get to the Roebuck.
It's literally last level.
Yeah,
Get your ship
last level
before.
time.
Yeah.
Save
Mm-hmm.
before you play the final boss.
Hey! Probably halfway point while they're walking, you get that little message. Hey, this is the point of no return. Would you like to
Mm-hmm.
turn
Mm-hmm.
back?
You, dude, isn't that the truth? Dude, isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
Remember in Kingdom Hearts, where when before you'd fight the final boss, you were told like this is the last point, like there's no turning back. Once you get past this, you had to
Uh-huh.
fight Ansem. I think it was. Do you remember
Uh,
who that was voiced by?
no.
Billy Zane voiced Ansem, I believe. Okay,
Uh,
and we find
Intermission
out.
part 3.
No. So now Emily is dragging Liam because he's just fucking dead weight. He has no idea what's going
They should
on.
have just left his ass.
Honestly,
Technically, he was still alive. He wasn't dead yet, but
mm,
the hope of him being normal or alive was so slim to none.
yeah, but the fact that, they already had that chemistry, Emily wasn't just going to leave him there. She felt responsibility. She's like, you know what? And she even tells Nora, like, when they finally, like, um, reach each other, and Nora's like, "Oh my God, like I can't believe you're alive." And Emily's like, she has like the corniest line. I just decided I would keep on walking.
Oh
And I'm like,
god.
"Well, there you go. Good for you because you
Yep.
ended up saving, Liam's life." So
Mm-hmm.
and this is where kudos to her and credit to Emily's character. She does find her true strength at this point. Don't you feel?
Yeah.
Because even in this chaos, earlier in the film, she was, very nervous about all of this, didn't want to do any of it. First of all, what are you doing down there in the first place if you didn't want to do any of this? Uh, but
Yeah, I know, right?
she pulls through, and they finally make it to the Roebuck. They're walking.
And
They
that
make it to the
shit
Roebuck.
is all covered.
It's all
It
covered
is
with
the
what?
hive.
It is the hive, but we see all these like red lights like illuminating like in the sea, and it like
And that
it.
was cool. The use of the red lighting to show all the sacks was so cool.
Well, context there. As as they're walking to the Roebuck and they see it, the camera pans up to see like the overall like rig, and like red lights are just like glaring. And in video games and in real life, red light usually doesn't mean anything good. It's usually like hazard, like stop,
Mm-hmm.
warning. That's what we
Yeah.
know. That's what we know. And when they get to like the walkway to get to the front door, they realize that there's a bunch of debris in their way, and the debris ends up turning out to be all these creatures, and we just see them like dangling as they're
With their little legs and arms.
yeah, their little legs and arms are just dangling like rag dolls, and indicating like they're sleeping. But the three, our three heroes,
Of
uh,
course, they fuck shit up and wake them up.
right. Yeah, they have to walk through here to get to the door. Um, and
And it's
uh,
another movie trope where you have the sleeping beast, and you know you can't get past the sleeping beast without getting caught.
yeah, someone's gonna fuck up. So
Yep, and they do.
what was cool about what's cool about this scene is when they're walking through, they're intentionally walking in a straight line and just like passing all these like dangling arms, and the arms are like scraping essentially across their like face, like their helmets. and
Yeah.
and then we noticed like, dude, they're not asleep, like they can feel you. Otherwise, why would like these
Mm-hmm.
nails be like digging into your like
Mm-hmm.
digging onto your helmet screen?
And then that's when the suck happens.
Yeah, that's when all shit goes crazy, and an alarm goes off on. No, it was an alarm on the suit. that goes off,
Yeah,
like
because it
danger.
was getting low on oxygen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
danger, oxygen low, and then that.
oxygen levels low, and it's
Yeah,
like, ah, fuck.
and then of course
The
Liam
suit
as
gave
he's.
you away.
Yeah, yeah, Liam on the ground as he's being dragged is like, oh, that can't be good. He
Dumbass.
hears the alarm.
See, and then that point, it's like, really, dude, really, you're dead weight, and that shit happens,
Mm-hmm.
man.
That's the
Big
form of
sad.
support you're gonna give us is that doesn't sound good as he's being dragged, man, bitch. So so then Kristen Stewart ends up Nora's character ends up having to pretty much like sacrifice herself, tells Emily like keep walking and dragging Liam across the fucking floor,
Dude, that moment
and
when
the thing
that
like
creature
swallows
is
her whole.
sucking her, yeah, dude, she was getting bored, dude.
And as she's like she gets like what's crazy is like we don't know what she's really doing. Like, are you really giving up? As she's like being like engulfed in this like creature's like mouth, and then it almost swallows her whole, and then she's able to get that fucking flare gun, dude. The level
Yep.
2 gun. Boom!
Yeah. Boom.
Blast a howl. Blast a howl. Blast a big hole slash howl out of the beast, and then the
Bum, bum,
what we
bum.
normally no I gotta say this, dude, what we normally see the creatures dangling on, it starts lifting up, and it's like what the fuck, and then
Mm-hmm.
you see something kind of like in the darkness of the ocean, but it's not a clear image. So Nora like pops in that second flare,
Shoots it up.
shoots it, and then
And you
you
see the
see,
flare, and dude, it's a Jurassic Park fucking moment.
and it's like without the
Na,
no,
na, na,
it's
na, na.
just a flare emitting the light on the sheer size of this beast, and it's Cthulhu. He's finally arrived. He's finally shown his true
And
form.
then up comes from the ground the monkey fist.
Dun, 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 dun. Wait, the monkey fist.
Dun-dun. Yeah, King Kong's fist.
Oh yeah, and then Godzilla comes out of nowhere, and then it's just a
Yeah,
totally
because that's
different
the
movie at this
opening
point.
to the fucking Middle Earth.
Oh, you're right. No, Hollow Earth, Hollow Earth, Middle
Hollow.
Earth. Dude, damn it, get your movie straight. Middle Earth is Lord of the Rings.
I know.
What were you feeling at that point, like when you saw the reveal? It's like, oh no, this is a creature film for sure.
Crash. No, I'm just kidding. No, no,
Oh,
no, no. I thought it was
how
cool.
could
I thought it
you?
was cool because, hey, tweets are on. No, all joking aside, no, I thought it was actually fucking cool because, like you said, like when the flare goes up and it reveals just the outline shadow of this huge beast, you're just like, oh yeah, you're fucked now. That's literally endgame boss. You're under leveled, and it's like, here I am.
Not
And
only
it's
that,
like,
you're
oh
out of
shit.
ammo too. You got
Oh
nothing to
yeah,
go up
you can
against
use
this
that one
thing.
ammo just to see how it is. Hey, hey, hey! Before you get to the final boss, there's a shop, and you don't buy anything at the shop except for potions, and you're just like, "Oh yeah, I got this." And then you run out of ammo, and you're like, "Well, fuck, I can survive, but I can't do damage."
Yeah, exactly. Attack
Hey,
zero
hey,
damage.
hey, 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 hey! That's
Perception
what's great about
level
Fortnite. You
10.
can use your pickaxe.
Dude, but for
Dude,
Nora,
I
she
don't,
didn't even have a
dude. There were
pickaxe,
so
dude.
many times. Hey, there were so many times in Fortnite, dude, where I'd run out of ammo, and then I'd like get nervous in endgame and start smacking my pickaxe around at the enemy to try to kill him.
Sometimes it works, dude, in a clutch, man.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad you have it. Now you know like all of the rumors and all of the suspicions of why these
Were
rigs, like
confirmed.
all
Yeah.
yeah, all of these multiple drilling sites have been tampered with. It's because of this
Yeah.
fuck right here.
Because
So,
remember, at the beginning of the movie, and there were little snippets, they did mention earthquakes. It was very small.
mhm,
Remember, like in the little stuff they're talking about earthquakes? Yeah, that thing was making the earthquakes. It was like trudging around the ground and
right.
stuff.
And this
Yeah.
is just my theory, but I think he was the one that like punched through the first corridor of where Nora was in her quarters in the beginning, and that's what caused that portion of the
Well,
rig to
you know
implode.
what? I think what happened was is I think he trudged along it. I don't think he punched it, but because the other station was making sounds and alerts and stuff, maybe it was attracted to that, and that's where she built the hive. And she probably thought something was happening, so she went to the first one with Nora, punched the rig, and then finally showed up at the final one.
I don't know. It's
I don't know.
there's a lot of speculation, but to be honest, like
Nah.
this is
I
the
think
main
it's
culprit.
Cthulhu and King Kong and Godzilla are going to team up sometime.
We hope so, or at least
Yeah.
we need
Stay
to
tuned
see,
for Above Water.
yeah, above water.
Yeah.
The
See.
indirect sequel to Underwater, but the only
Oh,
reason we
direct sequel. Why would it be indirect? Direct,
no
right?
man, because
What do
if
you
it's gonna
mean?
introduce like the Legendary Pictures Titans,
Yeah.
it has to be separate. I don't know, man. Fuck this shit.
Okay.
Let's just write a
Man,
movie for Cthulhu fighting Godzilla and King Kong.
I'll pay money for it.
Let's do
A
it.
good whole
Starting
$5
now, let's just
on
invest a lot of
Tuesdays.
money in this project, and then by the time we're 35, we'll be poor.
So we have a Patreon, and that's going to help you pay for our movie that we're going to create.
Yeah, and whenever I get around to making the Patreon, that's when the
Yeah,
funding will start
just
being
for a
implemented.
lowly payment of $5 a month, can you help uh pay for our film and making Cthulhu and Godzilla happen? And hey, you might even get your own little sticker. All right, back from intermission 5.
So intermission 5 conclude. We're gonna conclude this. I'm not even
We're
gonna put this in.
going.
What am I concluding? I don't even know what I'm
you're,
doing.
you're you're concluding the movie.
Oh man. Well, now that we've had like the reveal of this fucking colossus beast,
All right, let's roll. Let's roll it back.
we're rolling it back.
Here, you want me to cue us in?
No, 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 no. Okay, yeah. Cue me in. Cue me in. Cue me in.
Okay. So as Nate was saying, with the colossal beast now kind of revealed, we now know the full threat that has been lingering all along, and obviously, as Nate kind of pointed out earlier, is this was confirmed as Cthulhu because the director was a big fan of
H.P. Lovecraft is what
yeah,
we're going for.
H.P.
Yeah.
Lovecraft, yeah.
Um,
Which
and
is cool.
yeah, no, I thought it was really cool because we've seen like several adaptations of Cthulhu, but like going into this movie not knowing that you're expecting that reveal was
Oh
like a
yeah.
complete shock to me, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm so for it. Nora's like head mask can't come off. Emily has to like bash it off, so there's no point in putting this mask back on. So now that
Yeah.
suit, now level 2 suit, damaged.
Yep.
Condition 0.
And there's no level 3 suit, by the
There's
way,
no
if
level 3
anyone's
suit. No,
wondering.
they
Yeah.
didn't have the budget for level 3 suit. So now these people take off the suits and they're like, get to the fucking
Hey, it
escape
wasn't in the
pods.
movie budget. Hey, it wasn't in the movie budget. Hey, do we want to put a third suit? Nah.
They're like, we're already getting close to the runtime. We gotta end this
Hey,
shit.
Kristen Stewart, can you take a pay cut, please, so we can add in the level 3 suit?
Dude, I think she chose this movie for the story. I have a feeling.
Yeah, she did, and the character development. And
Hmm.
it kind of strays off of what she did before a little bit, which was cool.
And like as much as people want to crap on like her like little mannerisms and quirkiness, like I like her as an actor. I'm not, and I get on those and this is a little bit of a tangent, so bear with me. Do you ever get to those points where you want to watch um all these movies with like your favorite actor, or
Oh
like
yeah.
or you go on like I call it like an actor binge. Um,
Yep.
I've done that with several actors, and a few to mention like Jake Gyllenhaal. I like a lot of movies that he's in.
I actually just saw a movie with him just a few days ago. It's called Ambulance.
Did
Did
you
you see
like
it?
it? I didn't see
Dude,
that one.
it was good. I liked it. He played a really good villain, and I actually enjoyed it. Me and Dad watched it, and it's pretty good.
You know what movie I really enjoyed with him? I mean, I've enjoyed a lot of movies with him, but
Spider-Man.
yeah, he was good as Mysterio. But no, Prisoners. Did you ever see Prisoners?
No.
Maybe you and I will have to watch that movie together. I don't know. Like he plays a detective in that movie, and I really liked his character in that film. Because I think in that movie, I don't know if it was written in the script for him to have like a little like tick, but he has like a tick with his eye or like a
Mm.
twitch, and I feel like that's more speculative, um, under the impression that those type of people in those high stress jobs just don't sleep, and maybe he's just
Mm.
like sleep deprived. But it's just one little trait that he just has, and just like implement this. Like, oh no, let's do the scene again. No, 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 do the thing you did.
And the thing is, it shows his craft too as an actor, where you can get into a character and the mindset of the character, and yeah.
Well, with the ending, with the ending of this movie, suits are off, skate pods are there, um, and they put Liam in because he's a worthless potato at this point. They put him in. they they just put him
A
in the pod.
worthless potato,
Dude, just call.
and
I
that
call it
is
like I
how
say
we.
it.
I will say he was like a sack of potatoes, because think about this: for the latter half of the movie, he was dragged around by Emily. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's not that he had any control over it, like he couldn't fucking breathe, so it's like he couldn't really. I don't know, they don't really explain it to like a degree. I don't feel like they need to. It's just like, hey,
nah,
he's lacking
he's
oxygen.
there. He's
He's got
comatose.
he's kind of going like cuckoo in the mind, so he's like a noodle, like his I don't know what I'm saying now. Just
He's
call
a
it a potato.
noodle.
He's a potato in an escape pod now. And then Nora takes Emily over to the other escape pod and tells her to get in. Like, no, 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 I'll take the last one. She's like, no,
And that's
get in.
when we
And
find
then,
out
yeah,
that
Emily sees that the third escape pod that is there, the green, there's like a green and red light above where the pods are, indicating that it's, good for
good to
service.
go
Yeah.
or not.
So,
Yeah.
obviously, the two green lit ones, Nora made sure that Liam and Emily were gonna get in, and Emily sees that the light above Nora's escape pod is blinking like green and red, as in it's not quite ready. Um, but the pod is still there. Emily sees that, and she's like, "No, no, 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 no." And Nora's like, "Basically, get the fuck in the pod. Like you're going here." And Emily's like, "No," and tries to fight, and that's when Nick's favorite part: Nora
Mm-hmm.
punches Emily,
Bam.
sucker punches her, and puts her in the pod. Emily realizes, like, okay, fine, like I accept this, and I love this part because Emily has like the bunny, as mentioned before, like little Paul, and she tells the both Liam and Emily, like, tell Paul's parents that he was my favorite pain in the ass. Like that was just cool. Like, you know, at this point that's all she cares about is saving lives.
Mm-hmm.
Once she realizes the threat. And then talk about an ending, man. I mean, her trade is a mechanical engineer. The ending is the pod she's not able to get to work, and she stays behind to overload the Roebuck station, like
Mm-hmm.
overload the power supply. And it's all this energy with nowhere to go, so she sets it on. It causes like a countdown,
And the
essentially,
cool
for
thing
this
is too
rig to
is I
implode.
love during that part where she's about to implode or explode the thing,
Mm-hmm.
is there's a little what do you call it? Like a little screen, and it shows the radius of the explosion. And the cool thing is you see the escape pods of Liam and Emily, and she makes sure that once they're
They
out
were
of the
outside
blast
of the zone,
radius,
right?
there she was good to go to just
Mm-hmm.
fucking blow that shit to smithereens.
And
Fuck you, Cthulhu.
yes, and the fact that she sets that, and it says like, okay, countdown initiated, and you got like less than a minute, and then
Mm-hmm.
she walks over to like you know, the glass window looking out into the rig, and she sees Cthulhu, like, kind of like basically a flex.
Queen
He's,
bitch, pretty
yeah,
much,
queen
yeah.
bitch. He's like, okay, let me show you what I'm about. And then he flexes, and then you see um, all of these other like creatures, like basically like emerge from his body, and they're
Mm-hmm.
all like swimming up after, like chasing after Liam and Emily.
Yep.
And that's when Nora realizes, like, I made the right decision. And she even has like an ending
Yep.
monologue, and I can't remember it verbatim, and I'm not even gonna try to recite it. But she basically understands that at the end of the day, these are just feelings that we have. If we feel helpless, there's always something we can do. And this is kind of her signing off point. And she like
Mm-hmm.
witnesses Cthulhu trying to like escape because he even and I don't even know how he realizes the rig is about to explode. Uh,
His little sensors went
his
off.
his spidey senses. Cthulhu realizes like, oh shit, like this chick's for real,
Yeah.
and she's just gonna watch me perish. No, fuck that. And he tries to like get away, and you see this, and then finally, like the one of the last shots of the film is like looking just like a really close up shot of Nora's character, and you see like the water like lift up above her head, and then you see like sparks in the background. It's a great shot. And the
It
whole
was her Iron Man moment.
it was like I
Yeah.
am Nora. Boom.
Boom.
And then cut to credits, and you see. I
And
mean,
we left the theater.
no, I stayed for the whole thing, dude. I was that distraught. Um, but I just remember the way I felt after that. I'm like, it's a feel good moment because in the last shots you see like her sacrifice herself, the station explode, and then the boom like covering over Cthulhu's body as if he were caught in that blast. But as we all know, like those beasts cannot be killed. So it's almost like even though you thought you were doing a cool thing to save your friends, you probably still save them. And even in the ending credits, it does show that two survivors did surface. Um, but I mean, you and I both know, like in movie logic, even though someone dies, they can find a way to bring them back.
Oh yeah.
And I don't
The
think this.
Cthulhu magic.
Yeah, and honestly, this movie better not get a sequel. It doesn't deserve
No.
one. Not saying that it's a bad movie, but I'm saying that this
They
movie.
wrapped it up in a nice little bow where you don't really need to uh have a second one because it's like, they covered everything up. The government did, like with the little snippets that we got at the end. So it's like cover up and done.
Well, the other thing to realize is that in the similarly to the opening credits being like like newspaper reels or newspaper clippings, the ending copies that, and it says, two survivors found. TN Industries looking to restart another drilling program, and it's just it's evidence to show that large corporations are only after the money.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to go on a big tangent about that, but it's just at the end of the day, they don't care about the souls that are generating their profit margins. And this movie does a good way of showing that world of corporate just trying to find a way to make money in any way they can, as long as they're not the ones doing the manual labor to do that.
And they make sure they keep their hands clean.
I'll quote Lord Farquaad: "Some of you may die, but it is a sacrifice TN Industries are willing to make." The end.
And to quote Batman, "Where's Rachel?"
Rachel was never in this movie.
Yeah, we want to make a side note. Batman did not show up in this movie whatsoever, and was never forementioned at all. And there was no woman named Rachel, unless she was the dead bitch at the beginning, which we forgot her name, so we called her Rebecca.
Yeah, either Rebecca or Katie, doesn't matter. She wasn't important to us because she was dead as soon as we saw her. So there. Um. Well, you know what? This was fun.
Thank you for joining us on episode 1. Now don't come back.
Well, that's been our somewhat discussion of underwater. Um, We hope you guys have had a good time hearing us go off the rails and have as much fun as we normally do on sessions like this. And, we just get carried away. So if you're going to stay tuned, expect more of that. And until next time, goodbye, friends.